Cole was alone in the ruins again. The jungle was thick, the air hot and sticky. His boots crushed leaves and ash as he walked deeper into the wreck site. It had been weeks since the alien ship crashed here. Most people had stopped coming. There was nothing valuable left, at least that's what they thought. Cole didn't care about profit. He came here because he couldn't sleep. Something about this place felt unfinished, like it was waiting for someone. Today, the wind was quiet. No birds, no buzz of insects. Just silence. He stepped over a twisted metal beam and paused. There was something strange ahead. A small, half-buried pod, shaped like an egg. Burn marks covered its sides. Smoke stains. No symbols. No door. He moved closer, brushing off vines. Then he heard it. A sound, very faint. A small voice, shaking, calling softly from inside. Cole's breath stopped. He leaned down and placed his ear near the cracked panel. "Hello?" He whispered. There was a reply, a whimper, followed by a word he didn't understand. It was a child. His hand shook as he grabbed his toolkit. The metal groaned as he pulled open the side panel. A hiss of steam hit his face. Inside, wrapped in a silver emergency sheet, was a small alien girl. She looked no older than 6. Her skin was light blue, her eyes glowing faintly violet. She was thin, shaking, and covered in dust. Her arms were curled tight around a soft cloth. No, a photo. A printed picture of a woman. Same eyes. Same glow. The girl looked up at Cole, scared and silent. "It's okay," he said gently, lowering his voice. "You're safe now." She didn't speak his language, but something in his tone made her loosen her grip. Slowly, she let him lift her from the pod. She was cold. Too cold. Cole wrapped her in his jacket and held her against his chest. She didn't cry. She didn't fight. She just stared at him, like he was the first real thing she'd seen in days. He walked her back to his speeder. The jungle seemed to shift around them. Shadows moved among the trees. But he didn't stop, not once. He had someone to protect. Now that night, at his cabin, Cole lit the fire and made her soup. She didn't eat much. She sat curled on the rug, staring at the flames, her photo clutched tightly in one hand. When he tried to take it to clean it, she pulled it back fast. "I won't take it," he said, holding his hands up. "It's yours." She stared at him for a long moment. Then slowly, she pointed at the woman in the photo. "Mra," she said softly. Her voice was quiet but clear. Cole nodded. "Mra, your mother?" The girl didn't answer. She just looked at the fire again. He gave her a blanket and let her sleep on the couch. She curled into it like she'd been doing it her whole life, like it was safer than anything she had before. Cole didn't sleep. He sat near the window, watching the trees, thinking, who had left her behind? Why was there no search team? Why was she alone in a pod with no beacon? And who was watching them from the woods? Because he was sure now. Someone had been there. Just out of sight. Just far enough not to be seen, but close enough to see him pull her from the wreck. Morning came with rain. The girl stood by the door, staring out at the gray sky. Her bare feet touched the wooden floor, and her fingers traced the window frame. Cole walked up beside her. "You need a name," he said gently. She looked up at him. "How about Leah?" She blinked slowly, then nodded once. "Leah," he said again with a smile. For the first time she almost smiled too. Cole wasn't sure what he had gotten himself into. But he knew this much. He wasn't going to let anyone take her. He didn't care if she was human or alien, blue-skinned or glowing-eyed. She was just a child, scared, alone. And now, his responsibility. He picked up the photo from the table and looked at the woman again. Where was she now? Was she even alive? Did she know her daughter had survived? He looked back at Leah, who was now sitting near the fire again, hugging the blanket tight. Cole didn't know what tomorrow would bring. But one thing was clear. He had found her in the Wreckage, but it wasn't her he had saved. It was himself. And somewhere out there, someone was watching, waiting for the day they'd come to take her back. Leah was growing fast. Cole noticed it in small ways. She no longer flinched when he walked into a room. She started speaking more, even if her words were sometimes mixed with her own alien tongue. And at night, instead of staring at the ceiling, like a frightened animal, she curled up in the blankets and whispered, "Good night, Dad." The first time she called him that Dad, he nearly dropped the mug he was holding. She had said it so casually, like it had always been true. Cole smiled but said nothing. His throat was tight. He hadn't planned this. He wasn't a parent. He was just a man who worked with machines, who lived alone and avoided the world. But Leah had changed that without even trying. And now, this life felt normal, too normal. That's what worried him. One evening, while cleaning her old photo again, Leah paused. She stared at the image of the woman, her mother, and tilted her head like she heard something no one else could. Then she pressed the photo close to her chest and closed her eyes. "What is it?" Cole asked from across the room. She opened her eyes slowly. "She's coming." Cole froze. "Who?" But Leah didn't answer. She just stared at the photo, eyes wide and glowing a little brighter than before. That night, a buzzing sound passed over the cabin. Cole ran outside with his scanner. 3 drones hovered in the sky, black, silent, unmarked. They didn't respond to his warnings. They circled twice and flew off into the woods. He looked back toward the house. Leah was watching from the window. Her hand was shaking. Someone was looking for her. And now they knew where to look. The next few days were quiet, but not peaceful. Cole reinforced the cabin walls, added a jamming field, and took Leah into the forest every morning to train her. How to run, how to hide, how to survive. "Why are we doing this?" she asked one morning. "Because I'd rather die than let someone take you," Cole said without hesitation. Leah didn't answer. She just grabbed his hand and squeezed it tight. Then came the dream. Leah woke up screaming in the middle of the night, her eyes glowing so bright they lit up the room. The air around her shimmered like heat waves. Cole rushed in and held her close. "She was calling me," Leah sobbed. "She's close. She's near the edge of the forest." Cole didn't believe in magic, but this wasn't just a dream. He had seen her glow before, when the drones came. Her body reacted when she was in danger, or when someone tied to her was near. He checked the scanners the next morning. And sure enough, deep in the woods, something large had entered the valley. No signal, no ID, but the trees were disturbed. Someone was walking toward them, not a machine, not a drone, a person. 2 days later, Leah stood still near the front door. She hadn't moved for hours. Just stood and stared, like she was waiting. "Leah?" Cole called. She didn't turn. Then she whispered, "She's here." Before Cole could ask what she meant, the cabin door chimed. It was the soft, slow chime of a visitor. Cole walked to the door, hand on his sidearm, heart pounding. He opened it, and there she stood, a tall alien woman, cloaked in a silver garment that shimmered with soft light. Her skin was like Leah's, but her eyes were sharper, older, wiser, the same violet glow, the same cheekbones, and the same photo, the exact same one Leah had clung to, now tucked in a necklace around the woman's neck. "Her name is Leah," the woman said softly. "She is my daughter." Cole stood still, unable to speak. She looked at him, not like a threat, not like a soldier, but like a mother holding her breath. "I don't come to take her," she said after a long pause. "I come to ask something far stranger." Cole narrowed his eyes. "What's that?" The woman stepped forward. "I want to stay here with you both." Behind him, Leah's voice trembled. "Her name is Mra." Cole turned. Leah wasn't afraid. She was smiling. That night, Cole didn't sleep. Mra slept on the couch. The same spot Leia used to curl up in. Leia had fallen asleep next to her, fingers wrapped around her mother's hand like she had never let go. Cole sat by the fire, thinking hard. Why had Mara waited so long? Why hadn't she come sooner? Why now? And why ask to live with them instead of taking her daughter back? He didn't know what was coming next, but it was clear now. Life as he knew it had just changed forever. And deep inside, something old and dangerous had followed Mara here, something that wanted Leah back. Or worse. The fire crackled in the quiet cabin. Cole sat in the far corner, half awake, hand resting on the grip of his old plasma tool. He had patched machines, fought raiders, even dealt with alien diplomats, but never once had he faced a question like this. Could a stranger live in his home just because she claimed to be Leah's mother? And more than that, why didn't she try to take Leah away? Mara moved like someone who didn't belong to Earth. She floated instead of walked. She blinked slower, like her eyes saw through time. She didn't flinch at loud noises, didn't eat the food Cole offered. And when she spoke, it was like music wrapped in thunder. But what shook him most were her eyes. Silver rings floated inside. Her violet pupils, always shifting, like they were tracking something far beyond the walls of the cabin. Leah was at peace around her. She followed Mra, held her hand, even laughed again. But Cole wasn't fooled. Something was off. One night, Cole asked directly, "Why now? Why show up after all these years?" Mra didn't answer right away. Instead, she looked out the window. Rain was falling. Light shimmered across the glass. She was hidden, Mra said. Not lost, not abandoned. Her blood was marked. If I had claimed her before, they would have taken her forever. Who's they? Cole asked. The ones who made me run, she replied. And they are coming still. Cole felt the chill run up his spine. The next morning, Leah was outside early, tracing strange patterns into the soil. Ma stood behind her, murmuring in their native tongue. She was teaching her something. Something ancient. Cole stepped out onto the porch. What's that? He asked. Mara turned slowly. Memory scripts. They'll help her remember who she is, even if you forget. Cole didn't like the way she said you. Like he was temporary. I'm not going to forget her, he said quietly. I believe you, Mara said, stepping forward. That's why I came. That night, Cole stayed up late again. He opened his old records and began scanning news logs. Disappearances, faint warp signatures, static bursts in orbit. All of them pointed to one thing. Someone was tracking Leia. Not from Earth. From deep space. And if what Mara said was true, Leah's bloodline wasn't just alien. It was valuable to someone powerful. That's when he noticed it. A symbol buried in one of the old scans from the jungle crash. A mark burned into the pod's inner walls. Cole had seen it once before. Years ago. In a restricted war file classified by Earth Council. It was the mark of the Void Claimers, a tribe of pure-blood colonists that believed only their kind should rule the stars. They stole children of rare bloodlines. They trained them, reprogrammed them, turned them into weapons. Was that who Mreo was hiding from? Later that night, Cole heard whispers from the other room. He crept toward the hallway and froze. Mra was speaking softly into a small orb of glowing light floating above her palm. She said words Cole didn't understand, but one phrase stood out. The bond is forming. He doesn't know yet. Cole stepped forward. What bond? Mra turned fast but didn't look surprised. You saved my daughter, she said calmly. In my people's laws, that's not just kindness. It's a claim of heartblood. I didn't claim anyone, Cole said. Mra took a step closer. You did when you chose her over safety. When you shielded her from the jungle, fed her, named her, loved her. That act created a soul thread between you and her, and now it's pulling at me too. Cole shook his head. You're saying I accidentally bonded with you? Mara looked down. It wasn't an accident. It was destiny. The next morning, Leah woke up humming a song she said she never heard before. She said it came in dream. A woman with glowing wings taught it to her. She said the woman looked like Mra, but older, scarred, and angry. She told me to be careful, Leah whispered. That you'll have to choose soon. Cole crouched down beside her. Choose. What? Leah touched her chest. Which family I belong to. Cole felt like the world stopped spinning for a second. She wasn't talking about him and Mra. She was talking about something deeper, something ancient, pulling her back to a life that wanted to own her. And once again, he would have to stand. Between Leah and the galaxy. This time, though, her real mother was standing next to him, and she might not be on his side. Cole woke to the sound of humming, soft, steady, rhythmic, like a lullaby floating in the air. He walked toward the sound, his feet silent on the wooden floor in the corner of the cabin. Mra sat with Leah curled in her lap. The girl's eyes were closed, her breath calm. A gentle blue light glowed around them both, spinning like smoke. It wasn't dangerous, but it didn't belong to Earth. What are you doing? Cole asked. Mra didn't look up. I'm strengthening the bond between us. Our bond? She finally turned. No, between her heart and mine. She's waking up, Cole. Her blood remembers things we tried to bury. Cole stepped back. You said you came for peace. But this feels like magic. It's not magic, she said softly. It's memory. Later that evening, Cole worked alone in his small tool shed. Sparks flew from his arc welder, but his mind wasn't on repairs. He was thinking about what Leah had said the night before. She told me to choose, she had whispered. But choose what? Earth or the stars? Him or Ma? Childhood or something? Ancient? Cole wiped sweat from his forehead and stepped outside. The forest was quiet. Too quiet. Then he saw her. Mra stood at the edge of the trees, her silver cloak fluttering in the night wind. She wasn't looking at the stars. She was looking at him. He walked over slowly. You should be resting, he said. She didn't smile, but her voice was gentle. You didn't ask the question. What question? Why I really stayed. Cole didn't answer. She turned her head slightly. It wasn't just to protect Leah. It was to finish something started years ago. You mean the bond? He said, voice low. Mra nodded. When you pulled her from the wreckage, you weren't just saving a child. You were making a choice that rewrote fate. Cole crossed his arms. I didn't sign up for fate. I just saw a scared little girl who needed someone. And that, Mara said, stepping closer, is why you're worthy. He looked into her eyes, those silver rings glowing brighter than ever. Then she reached for his hand. I know you don't understand our ways, she whispered, but last night in our culture, I accepted you. For what? He asked, heart pounding. She looked up at him, her voice so quiet it barely broke the wind. For husband. Cole froze. He tried to pull his hand away, but her grip was firm, warm, alive. This isn't right, he said. You're Leah's mother. I raised her. I'm not meant to be anything more than that. You already are, she sighed, stepping even closer. To both of us. That night, he didn't sleep. Leah had gone to bed smiling, tucked between them on the couch. Cole sat by the window again, eyes scanning the dark tree line. Something wasn't right. He checked his scanner. 2 heat signatures. Moving. Fast. Then gone. He powered down the lights and locked every door. When he turned around, Mra was standing behind him. I feel them too, she said. Who are they? He asked. Hunters, she said. From her bloodline's rival clan. They don't take children. They take blood. Cole's stomach turned. They followed my signal, she whispered. I stayed too long. You led them here? He snapped. I stayed because I trusted you. Because I wanted this. A family that isn't chosen by blood or duty, but by love. Cole turned away. Love doesn't work like that. Mra placed a hand on his shoulder. Then teach me. Teach us both. Before dawn, the cabin trembled. A low hum echoed through the forest. A ship had landed, but not in peace. Cole grabbed his rifle and stood at the door. Mra took his hand again, her eyes glowing bright. If they breach the walls, they'll take Leah and destroy everything you gave her. Then we stop them, he said. She nodded. Together they turned, and behind them, Leah stepped into the room, her body wrapped in light, her feet not touching the ground. Cole stared in shock. She's not afraid, Mara said. She's ready. Outside, the trees parted. Tall figures in black armor moved silently through the mist. They carried no guns, no blades, only obsidian rods glowing red with ancient energy. They weren't here to fight, they were here to claim, and Cole was ready to remind them what it meant to stand between a child and a father who never let go. The door shook. Cole stood with his rifle raised, Mra beside him, her hands glowing with pale blue light. Behind them, Leah stood barefoot, her eyes brighter than ever. She looked calm, but not innocent. Then the knock came, one single knock, firm and cold. Cole stepped forward and unlocked the seal. The metal door slid open with a hiss. A tall figure stood in the rain. His armor was gold black, shaped like bone. A red cape flowed behind him, already soaked. His face was sharp, his eyes burning with cruel patience. A long scar stretched from his chin to his temple. He didn't need to speak his name. Cole knew this man was troubled. Myra stepped forward and whispered, "Vale." The man nodded, smiling like a hunter who had finally cornered his prey. "I see you've grown bold, Mra," Vale said. "Hiding my daughter, living like a farmer, mating with a human." Cole didn't lower his rifle. "She's not yours," Cole said flatly. Vale laughed. "She's my blood. That makes her mine." Leah stepped beside Cole, chin raised high. "You never came for me." Vale's smile vanished. "I didn't know you were alive," he said sharply. "Your mother, she ran because of you." Leah snapped, "Because you wanted to use me." Cole looked at Mra. Her hands were trembling. "I didn't think he'd find us," she whispered. "Not this soon." Vale stepped forward, slow and unafraid. "I don't need permission. Our laws are clear. The child is mine. And by claim, the woman too." Cole didn't move. "That's not how things work here." Vale stared at him, like he was nothing more than dust. "You're just a caretaker," he said. "A mechanic in the woods. You think you matter in our world?" Cole didn't blink. "I matter to her." Behind him, Leah said softly, "He's my real father." The Fane. Words cut through the air like lightning. Vale laughed again, but there was no joy in it. Only rage. "You're serious," he growled. "You let her call you that?" "I didn't let her," Cole said. "She chose." Vale's fists clenched, and a blast of red light flashed from the rods on his back. Mra stepped forward. "You swore never to hurt her." "I swore never to kill her," Vale said. "But if you want to turn my daughter into some weak earthling, I'll burn this forest to ash." He raised his arm. Cole pulled the trigger. The blast hit Vale in the shoulder, but the armor absorbed it. Vale growled, stepping back. "So that's how it is." "Stay away from my family," Cole said. Vale turned his head slightly. Then, "Prove it," he said coldly. "In our laws, 2 men can claim a child, but only one keeps her." Cole's heart pounded. "You're asking me to fight for her?" "No," Vale said, smiling again. "I'm asking you to earn her." That night, Mra sat by the fire silent. Leah leaned against her, but her eyes followed Cole as he walked past. "What is he?" Cole asked. "Some prince? A warlord?" Mra shook her head slowly. "He's worse. He was chosen by the elders, groomed to control bloodlines. Marrying me was a way to gain power." Cole sat down. "And Leah? She was the prize," Mra said. "The blood of 2 strong houses." He wanted to shape her into something cruel. Cole clenched his fists. And now he's back. Mra looked up. He won't stop. Unless one of you breaks the bond. Cole stood in silence. I won't leave her, he said. I don't care what his laws say. Mra nodded slowly. There is one way, she said. You must answer his challenge, not with weapons, but with memory. Cole blinked. What do you mean? Mra stepped closer. You've lived with her, loved her, protected her. If she chooses you in the right of roots, his claim is broken. And if she chooses him? Cole asked. Mra lowered her gaze. He takes her off-world. Forever. The next morning, they stood in the ancient grove. The trees formed a circle, their trunks glowing faintly with old symbols. Vale stood at one end, arms crossed, smirking. Cole stood at the other, heart heavy, eyes locked on Leia. She walked slowly. Into the center. Her voice was calm. I've known two fathers. One gave me life, the other gave me love. She looked at Vale. You were never there. She looked at Cole. But you always were. Then she placed her hand over her heart. I choose the one who stayed. The grove pulsed with light. Vale shouted, but the roots beneath his feet surged upward, locking him in place. The forest had answered. And Leia had chosen. But the battle wasn't over. Vale roared, and the bindings cracked. He wasn't going to leave quietly, and Cole wasn't going to let him take even one step closer, because now he wasn't just protecting Leia. He was protecting his daughter, and no law in the stars could take that away. The forest had gone still. After the rite of roots, everything should have been over. Leia had made her choice. The grove had accepted it. The light had sealed the bond. But Vale didn't leave. He stood at the edge of the clearing, bound in silence. His armor cracked where the roots had touched him. His cape was torn. His pride shattered. Still, his eyes burned with fury. Cole stood between him and Leia, arms out, chest rising and falling with steady breath. Every part of him was ready to protect, but he didn't expect what happened next. Leia stepped past him, straight toward Vale. Leia, wait, Cole said quickly, reaching for her arm. She paused. I need to speak with him. Why? He asked. Because he's still my blood. Cole froze. He wanted to argue. He wanted to pull her back, but her voice wasn't a child's anymore. It was calm, clear, full of weight. She walked up to the man who once claimed her like a trophy. Vale knelt slowly, not by choice. The roots still held him. His breathing was heavy. You are strong, he said quietly. Stronger than I expected. Leia looked him in the eye. You wanted to shape me into something powerful. But I shaped myself. Vale didn't reply. I don't hate you, Leia continued. But I don't belong to you. Her hand hovered near his face, not to strike, but to say goodbye. Vale didn't flinch. He looked down. I saw her in you, he whispered. Your mother. Fierce, pure, but I saw myself too. I feared you'd become me. I never did, Leia said softly. Then she turned and walked back toward Cole. Back at the cabin. The fire was warm, but the air felt heavy. Mra sat near the window, silent. Leia leaned into Cole's side, her head on his shoulder. You did everything right, she said quietly. Cole didn't answer right away. He stared into the flames, his jaw tight. I nearly lost you, he said. I stood in front of him, but you stood taller than both of us. Leia smiled, tired but peaceful. I learned that from you. Later that night, the door creaked. Maria stepped outside, wrapping her shawl around her shoulders. She found Cole standing by the garden fence, staring at the stars. He'll leave now, she said. Cole nodded. He has no more claim. But he was never the real danger, she added. Cole looked at her, confused. Maria's voice was low. Leia's awakening. It sends out waves. Others will feel it. Empires, watchers, silent species that sleep in gas clouds. She's not just rare. She's ancient. Cole clenched his fists. Then we protect her again, he said. Mara looked at him long and hard. You know what that means, she said. I do. Even if it breaks her heart? She asked. He didn't speak for a long time. Then finally, I'll do anything, even if she hates me later. The next morning, Leah walked into the living room to find a bag packed by the door. Cole was tightening the straps. Are we moving? She asked. He looked up. No, just me. Her heart skipped. What? Cole stood. We've kept you safe here for years. But now the danger is growing. If I stay, I'll be the reason they find you again. That's not true, Leah said, her voice rising. You didn't bring them. But I'll be the reason they come faster, he said. You chose me. That makes you a threat to their order. If I disappear, maybe that heat cools down. Tears welled up in her eyes. I don't care what they think, she whispered. I care about you. He reached out and pulled her into a hug. She shook in his arms. You are more than my daughter, he said. You're my legacy. I want you to grow, to fly, to be something bigger than me. And if leaving gives you that chance, then that's what I'll do. Mara stood silently at the corner of the room, watching with wet eyes. Leah broke away. Then I'm coming too. No, Cole said softly. You stay with your mother. With the one person who knows how to keep you safe. And teach you to use what's inside you. That evening, as the sun sank low, Cole stepped onto the trail with his bag. Leah stood on the porch, holding Ra's hand. She called out, one day, you're coming back. He turned, smiled, and said, you'll be the one to come find me. She smiled through her tears. Then don't go too far. And with that, he walked into the forest, a man who had raised a child that didn't belong to his world, but would one day change it. The seasons changed. Snow fell, then melted. The rivers swelled. Flowers bloomed. And still, Cole didn't return. Every morning, Leah checked the forest trail. Every evening, she lit a small lamp on the porch, just in case he found his way back. In the dark, he never did, but he had left more behind than silence. Mara watched her daughter grow stronger each day. Leah could read ancient scripts now. She could call light from her palms, walk through trees without breaking a twig, and hear thoughts before they were spoken. But more than anything, she had grown wise. She didn't chase power. She didn't crave revenge. She wanted peace because she had seen what love looked like in the eyes of a human man who gave everything for her safety. One night, under a sky filled with twin moons, Leah sat beside Mara on the cabin porch. Miss him, she whispered. Mara said nothing. I dream about him, Leah continued. Sometimes I see him in places I've never been, like he's showing me something, leading me somewhere. Mara's fingers tightened around her teacup. Then maybe it's time, she said. Leah turned to her. Time for what? Murray stood and stepped inside the house. When she returned, she held a folded map, a hand-drawn route, a single line, stretching across stars, planets, dead moons, and forgotten systems. This was left on the table the day he disappeared, Mara said. He didn't say goodbye, but he left you a path. Leah's eyes burned. Her fingers shook as she took the map. She didn't speak. She just nodded and began to pack. The ship was small, an old scout model Cole had once repaired. It wasn't beautiful, but it had heart, just like him. Leah stepped aboard. Mra joined her, strapping in quietly. I thought you'd stay, Leah said. Mra smiled gently. He may have claimed me by tradition, but I chose him long before the stars did, and if he's still out there, I want to see the look on his face when he realizes we never stopped looking. The ship roared to life and lifted into the sky. For the first time in years, the valley was silent, but not empty. Because now, they were chasing their family, not by blood, not by law, but by love. The map took them across ruins and relay stations. They chased old messages, a signal code buried in a maintenance log, a carved symbol hidden inside a hangar wall, a torn jacket left on the edge of a desert world. And then one day, on a planet with no name, they found it, a small settlement. One light blinking above a door. Inside, a workshop filled with broken machines, and a man sitting in the dark, working on a child's hover bike. His beard was longer now. His jacket older, but his hands steady. His eyes the same. He didn't look up right away. Then he heard her voice. "You said I'd be the one to find you." He turned. His eyes went wide. Leah. She rushed into his arms. Cole dropped the wrench and held her close, tighter than he ever had. Behind her, Mara stood silently, tears in her eyes. Cole stepped toward her next. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. He pulled her into a quiet, long embrace. That night, they sat by a fire again, not in the old cabin, but in a new home. A smaller one, built by Cole's hands, with parts no one else cared about. Just like he always did, take what was broken and turn it into something worth keeping. Leah sat between them. She looked older now, not by age, but by the path she had taken. "You left to protect me," she said softly. "I left," Cole replied, "so the galaxy would stop watching. But I always knew you'd find me." "Then don't leave again," she said. He looked into her eyes. "I won't." And so they stayed. A human, an alien woman once hunted by her own kind, and a child born from two worlds, but raised by choice. They didn't fit into any law. They didn't follow any rule, but they made something stronger than blood. They made a family, the kind the stars would whisper about for centuries, not because they were powerful, but because they chose love when the universe demanded war.